I goofed that up. Well, I kind of goofed that up. All right, well, I guess I gotta go live on Instagram too. So I wasn't really ready. But shit go the way it go. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna rock out. So let's go. Hey, how y'all feeling? It's the Daily Go Get It Business Show. I'm your host, Sun752. And I jumped the gun a little bit, and now I'm feeling some kind of way about it. But love is love, baby. This is like really the pre-show. So this has happened before, so it ain't like I've never made this mistake before. So let's go. I'll show y'all what I have to do before I normally go live.
5 seconds. 4.
What's up, Stacy? What's up, Carol Chamber? Let me Let's go, baby. So I have to let Blog Talk play, and then I have to cut it off, and then I have to call back in, because if I just call in and leave it that way, then people won't hear my audio for some reason. Nobody will be able to call in. It's I don't know. I don't know why it happens that way, but it is.
Since it appears
I'm just glad that I figured it out before.
We are reconnecting you now.
So let's get popping, baby. Yeah, so that's how it's all going down. Right now. It's the daily. Daily Go Get 'Em show, and it's Friday, and it feels so good, so much to the point that if I was a drinker or a joint roller, I would take control of the situation. I'm just here to get off a little frustration. Tonight, this is what we're going to talk about. We about to just turn it out. That's no doubt. So tonight on the Daily Go Get 'Em show, we are talking about the streets ain't safe for kids no more. A lot of us really believe that. We talk all the time nostalgically about how when we were younger, we was able to, go outside and play. Our moms made us come in the house when the street lights came on, that kind of stuff. A lot of it is folklore. A lot of it is urban legend and stuff like that. But we're gonna take a look at it because most of us look upon our childhood with fond memories, and we should. But that doesn't mean that we were always in a good place when we were younger. We going to take a look at that right now. I'm riding Nicky now. So it's the Daily Go Get 'Em show, y'all. I am your host, Sun752, aka Omar with the feel like a real man should. T Carry right, morning, noon, and night. It's good to have my peoples going in your side. Yes, it feels good today, y'all. Things going my way. Hey, what is it? It's the daily Go Get 'Em show. Everything is gonna be all right. We do it like this, we do it like that. We're first to get on this thing, first up the bat. Everything is gonna lay on down the way we do it, the kings and queens with crowns. So, are the streets really more dangerous? Is it more dangerous for our kids out here nowadays than it was when we were growing up? Now, I guess that would depend on which era you grew up in. Some people grew up all the way back in like the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, 2000s. And now this is the 2000s, but we have children that grew up in the beginning of the 2000s, and now they're at least 18 years old, all the way up to 21 maximum. What's up, Robbie Ming? Robbie Ming, my big sis doing a thing. She's something like a what? King for a queen for a king. Good to see me, some of you. Thanks for coming on through, y'all. Appreciate it. Mucho. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. It is the Daily Go Get 'Em show, and we are talking about they say that the streets ain't safe for kids no more. Of course, I'm going to question that. We say that the streets ain't safe for kids no more. Well, what's so dangerous about it? One thing that we have as a tool that we use on a regular basis nowadays is the internet. So we know whether the streets are safe for in our own neighborhood, and we can do that visually. We know that visually, from living that real life experience. Other parts of the world now, we know something about the violence and the happenings and goings on that take place in all different types of places in the world, whether we're talking about out the West Coast or up north or Midwest, dirty South. We know we can go on Google Maps and stuff like that and see what's happening. The internet reports to us. We can go on the local news of any city in the United States, overseas, anywhere, and we can read about what's happening in those neighborhoods. We couldn't do that before. You didn't know what was going on in Asia, Africa, South America, even Texas, San Antonio, Texas. You didn't know what was going on in places like that when we were younger. We didn't have that kind of access. It wasn't available. There was no way. The only way you would know a little bit about what was going on in each individual city, state, province, township was if we knew people who lived there and they told us. Other than that, we had to actually go there. So our field of information was a lot more limited back in the day. We talking about in the microfiche days. You had to go to the library and break out the microfiche. Microfiche. And those were newspaper articles, periodicals, and stuff like that. You had to search through it. You couldn't just log on. Let's see what's going on in Camden, New Jersey right now. We can do that now. We can do that now if we're in California or Hawaii or Tokyo or Mexico or in Africa. We can do that. So we have a broader sense of the dangers that are present, ever present, not just where we are, but everywhere. And I think that having access to that type of information has made a lot of us a little bit more anxious, a little bit more nervous, a little bit more cautious. We hold our children. Even the local news would talk about the crimes that were committed in our city, violent crimes. But you can remember, they didn't used to report every violent crime that happened in the city like they do now. Remember the movie Boys in the Hood? Remember Boys in the Hood? Remember near the end of the movie, Doughboy, who was Ice Cube. Ice Cube played the character Doughboy in the movie Boys in the Hood. He said, I guess the news don't know or don't show or don't care about what's going on in the hood. There was so much violent crime in LA County in the 80s and 90s. They didn't report all of that shit. That was nigga shit. It would have took up all of the airtime. All of it. It would have taken up all of the airtime. So they didn't figure the public wanted to see all of that violence, all of those gang killings and gang banging and crack related deaths. They wasn't showing all of that. Now they'll show it. Like it'll take up damn near the whole news cycle. Like, all right, y'all said we didn't show it before. Even if we don't show it, the internet will show it. You'll get it raw and uncut. Blood and gore. But you know what the crazy thing was? Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, when all of this extreme drug violence was going on and gang violence was going on, we sent our kids out to play. Life had to go on. We couldn't hide in the house and hide under our beds and hope that nobody would come and just randomly try to smoke us all and all of that. We just didn't live our lives that way, and we still won't. We still don't, for the most part. But we fear for the safety of our children, and every parent fears for the safety of their children. It's a natural thing to do. It really is. It's a natural thing to do. But when we start making the comparison, and we start saying, "Yo, man, you know, it's too dangerous to even let your kids be outside by themselves anymore," and I'm thinking like, Not so sure if it was so safe for us to be outside when we was outside, but we were around other kids. So we didn't feel like we were in danger. But we did dangerous things when we were little, didn't we? We did. We would court danger. Remember the old lady or the old man that lived around the way? The mean one. Remember the mean one? The one that would cuss us out? The one that we knew would cuss us out. The one we knew would put hands on us if they could catch us, but we was fast. But why did he want to put hands on us? Because we would do dumb shit to provoke him. Remember? Sit on his car, lean on his car when we knew he didn't like nobody sitting or leaning on his car. Remember that? See, we don't always talk about that. Cut across his yard when we knew he didn't like nobody cutting across his yard. Remember that? Oh yeah. Play doorbell Dixie with him when we knew that he or she was real sensitive to that. We poked fun at we like to say that we always respected our elders, did we? Did we? For the most part, we probably did. For the most part, these kids probably do. But guess what? We still did bad shit. Kids like being chased. So we did shit to get chased. Yeah. Did shit to get chased. So, it's easy for us to romanticize about how in the 70s when we grew up, in the 80s when we grew up, it was all this, that, and the third, and we used to go here and we could go there and we could do this and we could do that. And yeah, there's some evidence to support that. But it wasn't 100% sweet like that. It wasn't like we grew up in neighborhoods where there just wasn't any violence or any threats or any problems. It just wasn't like that. But, we have a little selective memory when it comes to the bad parts of our childhood. Those of us who consider ourselves to have had a pretty decent childhood. We put all the bad stuff aside. But we remember, now laters used to be 10 cents a pack and you got 10 big ones. Remember the now laters were square, but they was like that big. Now they like this big and they like 50 cents. And you only get like 5 of them in the pack. And they don't even taste right. Yeah, shit was cheaper back in the day. Inflation was lower back in the day. But our access to stuff was more limited back in the day. Just true. We didn't have as many convenience stores and specialty stores and, we didn't have all this Walmart and Target, and we just didn't have a lot of stores like that. We had local stores, we did. We had local stores, local businesses, which is one of the reasons I really don't like to give business to big box stores. We don't really recognize what damage they did to small businesses. We don't know. All we care about is damn Walmart got food cheaper than the market. A lot of y'all are not old enough to remember when supermarkets first came out. Some of us are old enough to remember that. I'm not. But supermarkets have not always existed. Supermarkets came out like the 50s? and they were called supermarkets. And the reason that they were called supermarkets is because they blended a bunch of markets into one place. Before like the 50s, you had to go, if you wanted fish, you had to go to the fish market. If you wanted pork or beef, you had to go to the butcher. If you wanted cake, you had to go to the bakery. They didn't sell all of that shit in one place. There was no such thing. They came out with supermarkets and they put in all of those little markets that you used to go to in one area. Now, most of us don't know what it's like not to have a grocery store. Evidently, in some areas, they didn't call it a supermarket, but that's what they were. And at the time that those supermarkets came about, people was like, yo, well, what's going to happen to the butcher, the baker, and the fish market? What's going to happen? And it did have an effect on them. Not to the point where they couldn't eat no more, but it put a dent in the quality of the meat or the fish or the service. See, before, the butcher, the baker, the fishermen, they lived in the neighborhood. They had a store. People knew them personally. They knew their kids and stuff like that. The supermarket made it more impersonal, just like Walmart, just like Target, just like Best Buy and Home Depot and Lowe's and all of that. Before, you used to have to go to the lumber yard, and I particularly liked going to the lumber yard. The lumber yard was fun. All of this wood. They would cut it. I need some 2x4s. I need some lath. I need some 2x3s. I need some sheetrock. I need some what do you call it? Some joists. Lumberyard. Lumberyard survived up until the 2000s. You have some lumberyards scattered, but they are rare. Plumbing supply stores are just about gone. You'd be hard pressed to find any of them. What's the one out in West Philly? Weinstein's over there on Lancaster Ave. Lancaster. Whatever. Last of a dying breed, if it's still there. Electrical supply stores, all but gone. And I mean all the way gone. Yeah, you got to go to Home Depot. Now you got to go to Lowe's. A lot of their supply is limited, and now they can control the prices. You try to open up a store like that. Okay, all right. I know that doesn't have anything to do with the violence and all of that kind of stuff, but it kind of ties in. And the reason that it kind of ties in is because when you start looking at the progression of things and when you start forgetting how things really were in the beginning, you fall into that narrative that, yeah, today is just messed up. Well, we may actually have contributed to it. Sucré je toi. Damn, these glasses fucked up. I don't know what the hell I'll be doing with my glasses. Like on my eyes like fingerprints? What the hell? The reading part of these glasses, because these are progressives. These are progressives. And I really didn't want to get progressives. I was down to actually get bifocals. I don't give a fuck. People's like, you gonna look like an old man with bifocals. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to see. I don't like wearing glasses, no way. All I know is bifocals was cheaper. A lot cheaper than these progressives. I didn't want to spend no money on this shit. Cutting into the fun money. What's going on? Rita Reds, Sucré je toi, and Monica Davis. Queen Monica, thanks for coming on through. All right. Robin Ming says the 60s were great. Were they? Were they? 60s were pretty violent. Civil rights shit. Niggas was getting their ass kicked down south. Niggas was getting their ass kicked up north too. Police brutality was on fucking fire, and nobody did nothing about it. At least the 70s started shining light on police brutality. The 60s, cops could do whatever the fuck they wanted to, and they did. And plus, in the 60s, you had a lot of gang warring all over the country. A lot of gang warring. It's funny how we choose to forget that part of the 60s, but it was heavy. It crossed over into the 70s, but it wasn't like it was in the 60s. In the 60s, gang warring was crazy. It was crazy. And I don't even know, I wasn't born yet. So I don't really know what we was fighting about in gangs in the 60s. Was it territory? I know it wasn't drugs. Or was it? But I do know that there was gangs. There were gangs in Chicago, gangs in New York, gangs in Philadelphia, gangs down south. There were gangs. In the 70s, the gangs started to fizzle out a little bit, but not the violence. But the 60s was on fire. But if you know anybody who grew up in the 60s, they'll tell you, no, that my childhood was great. In the 60s, we did this. In the 60s, we did that, and blah, 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 blah. They'll tell you that. And I don't blame them for feeling that way or talking that way. That's their truth. But every youth has the same truth. But was it really safe for us out there? In the 60s, when I think about the 60s, I think about violence. I think about the civil rights era. I think about Malcolm X getting murdered. I think about Dr. King getting murdered. I think about Bobby Seale getting murdered. Was it Bobby Seale? No, wait. Who was the young Black Panther who got killed? I think it was Bobby. Was it Bobby Seale, the young boy? Anyway, it was extremely dangerous to be a black leader in the 60s. They take you on up out of here. You got to go. You got to go. You up out of here. That was the 60s. That wasn't the 70s. That wasn't the 80s. That was the 60s. And we definitely had something to fight for in the 60s. And we did. But we got our ass kicked too. There's violence. So, let some people tell it. The only violence that was going on in the 60s was the violence that white people perpetrated against black people. Well, that wasn't true. We was kicking our... Let me tell y'all something. There is no era that you and I know about where black people wasn't fucking up each other. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit if you're talking about the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, on to slavery times. We have been exercising our mental enslavement thinking upon each other and beating the shit out of each other, murdering each other, and trying to act like it ain't really like that, but it is. But in every era, they'll tell you, yeah, but we used to have so much fun as kids. We used to be able to go to, and we used to have, and mama and daddy said, my auntie and my uncle, yo, grandmama, granddaddy did. Just like they'll have you thinking that teenage pregnancy is something new. Just like they'll have you thinking that kids, that young children, young black children going to committing violent crimes and being committed to life sentences or death sentences is new. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Violent crime is not new. So when was it ever safe for our children to go out and play? It probably has a lot to do with where you live and how you live. Shirley Sherrill, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. Shirley Sherrill, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. What's going on? Let me see with Queen Mona because it's talking math. She says, that stuff is gone. I think it's a liquor store in a Dollar General. Oh, damn. Weinstein is gone. Damn. You want to drive by and see? That's what's up. Yeah, let me know. Plumbing is there, but lumberyard is history. And I used to like that lumberyard right there at 52nd and well, it was by the gas station, but the lumberyard right there on Lancaster by 52nd Street. I knew where a bunch of lumberyards were. All right, that's because you don't have good memories of the 60s. You weren't around. Yeah, I'm not saying. Well, I agree that there are plenty of good memories from the 60s. It doesn't mean that it was safe for your children to go out and play. That's what I'm saying. They was gang warring like crazy in the 60s. It's a fact. It's a fact. Remember the movie Cooley High? Remember in Cooley High? Remember when they went to the movies? I think they went to go see Godzilla. And they got in a fight over the movies. And what did they say? What did they say? It was the Gangster Disciples versus that same gang that still is prevalent in Chicago. And I can never seem to remember what the name is. What their name? What the fuck? Let me see. Gangs in Chicago. Gangster Disciple and the Vice Lords. The Vice Lords. And in the movie, Cooley High, that's what they shouted out. He said he was a Vice Lord, and the other one said he was I think he said Gangster Disciple, whatever. But those are the two black gangs, and they got the Black Disciples. I don't know. But yeah, while Godzilla was on the screen, they was I don't know if y'all know anything about Chicago. It's a very violent city. That shit ain't nothing new. That shit ain't nothing new. Chicago always been off the fucking chain. Always. But in the 60s, with all that gang warring, they was more off the chain. They were off the chainer. So, when was it so safe for kids to go out and play? I hate to keep it on the media, but look at Good Times, the movie. I mean, the show Good Times. They lived in Cabrini Green Projects. I don't know if y'all know anything about Cabrini Green Projects. That shit is woo. See, in places like New York and Chicago, they can't afford to tear down all of their tall project buildings like they could do in Philly because they got to have somewhere to put them. There are 3 million people in Chicago. Well, Chicago has always been the third largest city. So New York, number 1, LA, number 2, with 4 million. New York used to have 8 million. I think they have like 10 now. So it was 8 million for New York, 4 million for LA. And LA is not a city, it's a county. That's the crazy part about it. But then again, okay, then it was Chicago, and then it was Philly. Philly used to be the 4th largest city with 2 million people. Now it's the 7th. People started moving. Detroit used to have 2 million people, but not the same 2 million that we had in Philly. Now they got barely a million in the D. So, but the bottom line is there were gangs like crazy in the 60s. But let people who grew up in the 60s tell it like, no, we used to have so much fun. We used to do this. We used to do that. Okay. I believe you because I know that you're telling the truth, but it doesn't mean that it was any safer for you. And I question whether it's any more dangerous for our children now. But we got this internet, and this internet tells us what's going on outside, over in Germantown, West Oak Lane, Mount Airy, South Philly, West Philly, Southwest Philly, which is the real North Philly. That Southwest Philly shit is off the fucking chain. I ain't never been. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on in Southwest Philly. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That shit crazy. I'll be looking at Southwest. Listen, I don't think it's all that safe to drive through Southwest Philly. I'm like, even when it was all white, them Southwest Philly white people was off the chain with racism. It wasn't safe to just go to Southwest Philly. Now, if you was black, I remember as early or as late as 1985. I remember they firebombed a mixed couple crib in Southwest Philly just because, mixed couple. They was like, nah, it's all white out here. We ain't gonna have no niggas moving in here. Okay. Let me see what y'all talking about. Carol Chamberlain says, grew up in Northern Liberties and moved to North Philly. Was it Northern Liberties back then? Robbie Mink says, growing up there was there was no gunshots. We could trust our neighbors. My block was like family. That's what we always say in Philly. It was like family. Well, I knew families that was warring. I grew up in Germantown in the 70s. I was born in 1970, and I remember, I'll never forget the hot summer of 1978. My cousin came to visit us from Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? And everything was going good that summer until them shots ran out. And my god brother Tony shot Jamie, and it was on. It was on. The Corbins versus the Hugheses. Yo, what a war. That shit fucked up everything. And I ain't gonna bullshit you. The whole block was like family until that incident. Now, Jamie had it coming. He was a fat dude. He was a bully. And my brother Tony wasn't having it. May he rest in peace. Jamie's dead now too. But Tony wasn't having it. I'm unclear about the details of why Tony shot Jamie. But he shot him at close range. Jamie was sitting on the Ford steps. Broad daylight, but mind you. Tony ain't give a Tony wasn't no Tony Vietnam vet. Tony didn't fucking play. Wasn't no big dude. He was a skinny guy, and he was actually a nice guy. Yeah, when Tony had the Buick Rivera, I used to ride the hump with Tony. Come on, oh, you know what I mean? Tony had sickle cell. Tony didn't fucking play. He walked over to Tony. Tony walked over to Jamie and shot him twice. It's point blank range. Bang, bang. Jamie fat ass ran up the steps through the backyards and shit like that. It was on from there. It was on. If you ever come on my mom's block, you'd be like, that happened on this block? Yeah, it did. And back then, the block was prettier than it is now. It's coming back to the gentrification thing now. But back then, a lot of white people still living on the block. A lot of black people, a lot of black families came up from North Philly. I don't know how we afforded them those houses, but there was probably a lot of white flight and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, the Corbins were a pretty decent family. You know, we all had our, but it was a pretty decent family. Still, Tony shot Jamie, and you know what? Tony never served a day in jail over that. There was no snitching going on, but it was no snitching, but it was a lot of warring. Tony never even got arrested for that. Nobody told on Tony. Everybody, broad daylight, saw him shoot Jamie. He must have shot him with a 22 because he basically grazed him at point blank range. I tell you what, though, for the rest of that summer, we still played outside. Yes, we did. But now we knew we had to. And guess what? Tony was my god brother. I never feared Tony. My man. May he rest in peace. When he passed in 1999, I was like, damn, that's my dog. Oh, here was the truth. He would always stop me for the good word. Hey, wasn't, you know what I mean? You know, like, we gonna have to hang out again. It's like, damn, man, Tone passed. I think Tony was like, I don't think, like in 1999, I don't think Tony was 50 yet. But if he was just 50. So, Tony would have been about 49, 50. 69, 70 years old now. May he rest in peace. Fucking sickle cell ain't no joke, man. That fucking sickle cell ain't no joke. And all, damn near all the Corbins had that shit. Okay. Robbie Ming says, I remember John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and Robert Kennedy. Damn, I forgot about the Kennedys. Yeah. But see, with those killings, it highlighted the violence in this country. But what it didn't highlight was the violence in these streets. We consider those people to be larger than life. That ain't had nothing to do with what was going on around the way. But Malcolm X got killed in New York. What you gonna tell me? There was a time in New York when, like, I love when they talk about the Harlem Renaissance and all of that shit. So you mean to tell me there was a time in Harlem where black people was just, it was just like, yo, this is love, baby. I would never do nothing bad to a black person, like. In Harlem, New York, huh? Okay. When my baby left me hollow, it ain't the same old place. Okay. All right. Carol Chamberlain says, when I was growing up, there, of course, was violence, but most times children were shielded from it. We didn't see a lot of it, but I'm sure that it was happening. Yeah, I'm sure of it too. But one thing is for sure, if we didn't see it, we just didn't see it. Here, we don't see it. We turn on the TV and see it. Here, we don't see it. We turn on our phones and see it. If we want to see it, we can see it. Remember how when the show America's Most Wanted first came out? Remember that show? It's still out, kinda, But remember, I remember looking at the show like, damn, these wanted fugitives and shit. We look like, damn. Remember how many people they caught? Well, they was doing their thing in the streets. Not all of the crimes were violent, but a lot of them were. Most of them were. Remember, the man created the show because his son got killed. His son was murdered, and he wanted to do something about it. Created that show. John Walsh. Shout out to John Walsh. But shows like America's Most Wanted shine the light on the fact that there's violence out there. This shit is crazy. People getting killed. Not all of them are getting caught. Now it's a little bit easier to catch them because we have all these surveillance cameras. People have their footage. There's footage. It wasn't like that back in the day. It wasn't like that. Okay. All right. Carol says, okay, wait. Robbie Mink says, that's why when the lights came on, we was in the house. Y'all was. Not all them kids was coming in the house. Not all of them had to. Not every parent raised their children, actively. Not all, just like today. Not all parents wasn't doing the same job. Robbie Mink said, Cooley High was made in the 70s, but it was supposed to be set in the 60s. That's why it was funny because, the soundtrack to Cooley High, it was like, they was all jumbled up. Like, let me see. What year was Cooley High supposed to be set in? What year was the movie Cooley High supposed to be set in?
When it came out, Cooley High earned a lot of comparisons to American Graffiti, released 2 years earlier. Both films were set in the early 60s. Both were about high school boys on the cusp.
Okay. But yeah, they had like the movie, the music. Well, I guess, okay, let's say the movie was set in 1964. Sure, you can play any other music from 1964 on before then, but when you start playing songs from like 1967, it's like, well, that song wasn't out yet. Well, yeah, I mean, it was recorded. It just hadn't came out yet. It wouldn't come out for another 5 years. Okay. So you got sitting on the dock of the bed. Well, they only played Motown songs, but you understand what I'm saying? It was set in the 60s, but yeah, it came out in 1975. 5, more like 4. Let me see. Emily Dunlap in the house. I said it, Emily. And Shirley Show, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. What's going on? It's still your birthday. What's up, girl? And April Cox, how you feeling, ma? How you feeling, ma? And April Cox says the internet is way more dangerous than the streets. You know what? I'm gonna address that in a minute because you got a point there. The streets may be one thing for kids, but shit, they danger is in the home on that damn screen. Carol Chamberlain says, when I was growing up, okay, wait, I already read that. Okay, wait. She also says we had stables where we could ride horses, lots to play on. We made our own games like Dead Man, Tops, etc. We made scooters out of metal skates and wooden boards. Yeah. Kids are going to find a way to make their fun. Shit. Let somebody put out a box with a box that a refrigerator or washer dryer came in. Like, oh, empty boxes. Oh, we gonna play house. We gonna roll around in the box. Like, look, it take 3 people to make this box turn over. Get in. We make a car out of a box. Children have the imagination to be able to create their own fun, and they will in any era, regardless of the circumstances. You know, children are going to grow up, they're going to play, and they're going to have fun in any way that they can find. But because as grown-ups, we remember how it was when we were younger, and we see the progression of things not going in the direction that we would like to see it go, and we think that we need to protect our children more than we may have been protected ourselves. You know, on Instagram, I put a little reel, a little video short today, and I said, you know, it's funny. Most people say that if anybody ever molested my child or whatever, that I would kill him, or I would put him in the hospital, or whatever. And it's funny because most of the people that molested you, what happened to them? We say that we would kill somebody that molested our children. But what happened to the person that molested you? And I'm talking to everybody, because damn near everybody has suffered at the hands of some would-be abuser. I'm just saying. I ain't trying, you know. And a lot of us who say what we would do if somebody ever, you know, laid a sexual hand on our children, a lot of us are just pump faking. And it's shown by the evidence. A lot of shit gets swept under the rug. So we talk about these streets ain't safe for our kids. A lot of these homes ain't safe for our kids either. Shit. We spent the night over houses. We spent the night over each other's houses when we were younger. A lot of that. Oh, can I spend the night? Oh, can such and such eat dinner with us? Can they spend the night? Yeah. Friends from school, friends from around the way, cousins and all that kind of stuff. Guess where a lot of that sexual assault came from? Some people recognize it, and that's why they won't let their children spend the night over anybody's houses. A lot of parents, you know, they old school. They don't give a fuck. Like, nah, we still gonna spend the night. We still gonna roast marshmallows. We still gonna have hot chocolate at night, and we still gonna tell stories, and we still gonna watch movies late at night, and we still gonna have fun, and we still gonna. Hey, I ain't mad at you. Some of us remember where we came from, and some of us have forgotten a little bit about where we came from. Shit is real. It's very real. This shit is real. Stacey White says, I don't like Walmart. I'm with you, Stace. I hate Walmart. I refuse to go to Walmart. Like, if you get me on a Walmart, you tricked me. Or I had absolutely no choice, and this is it. Other than that, I don't go in that store. Not because of the ratchetness that you're going to see in there, because I support black business and I support small business. Because that's me and you. It shouldn't be to the point where we can't open up a store because we can't compete. It's not right. And it kills communities. And that's the problem that we have, not just in the black community, but in all communities. There's no community because we can't feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, help ourselves. We can't do it. Big box stores have taken over our lives. So we go to them to feed us. We go to them for our recreation. We go to them to clothe us. Like, goddamn. Damn. The boutique ain't gonna make it. Yeah, they got some nice shit, but this shit too high. I can't go to the boutique. Think about it. Robbie Ming says at Carol, my brother made scooters out of wooden milk crates and skates. Emily says, I never feared the drug dealer in my neighborhood either, or the people on drugs. Yeah, we still went out and played. Like, fuck it. They ain't shooting at me. But there have been children shot and killed in the crossfire. Paralyzed. I remember 1988. I don't know if y'all remember some of the news stories in 1988. I was 17. I remember when that kid got shot in South Philly, caught in the crossfire. I remember it was a big thing on the news. Like, oh my God, they shot this little boy. He's paralyzed, shot in the crossfire. Drug dealers shooting at each other. That was 88. I mean, you know what that? If he's still alive, that kid. You know what I mean? That was a long time ago. You know? Because I believe that year he was a young kid, maybe 6 years old. Okay. The 80s was off the chain with the crack and the violence associated with crack. It was off the fucking chain. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Oh my God, it's 8:03 already. Oh, I started late. My bad. Bad. Okay. Abel Cox says, I was born in 91. My parents never let me leave the front of the house alone until I was maybe 14. Wow. She says, I wish I had more freedom. The neighborhood kids had way more freedom. Damn. This was the middle class village in southern UK. Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Southern UK. Huh. When you say southern UK, you mean England? She said, yeah, we had we used to attach boxes to skateboards. Okay. Emily says, those were the good days. Clean, not so safe. LOL. Sometimes fun. Walmart treats their employees terribly. Shoot. Walmart treats their customers terribly. You know what I'm saying? Walmart don't give a fuck. Y'all got, oh, Hampshire? Okay. Y'all got Walmart and there are Walmarts in the UK? I didn't know that. Is that a fact? They have one? I don't know. Yeah. For some reason, I think some businesses are just American businesses because I'm thinking like no other country would put up with this kind of bullshit. Oh, okay. She said no Walmart. Okay. So are you in the United States or have you been to the States before? Abril, have you been to the States? Abril? Because she's still pretty young. She was born in 91, so she could be a maximum of 30 now. She might, her birthday is coming up. She might still be 29. She might be still 29. Sucre Jutois says, and they normally try to protect their children from that. Yeah. She said, I think people who say that are the ones who have been molested and they normally try to protect their children from that. Okay. She says she's been in New York and Florida. Okay. All right, cool. I've been to the UK once. I've been meaning to go back. It's so expensive. But that's because I was in London. Maybe the rest of England is not that expensive. I never wanted to go to any other part of UK. I never wanted to go to like Ireland or Scotland or Wales. Like I really just wanted to go to London and the surrounding area. I did get to see Stonehenge. I had a nice time in London. I mean, I had a nice time in England. I went. It was pretty cool. April Cox says food is next level in USA. It is. There is such a big difference. If you go to Europe, you go to if you're from the United States and you go to Europe, you're gonna be like, first of all, the United States is very big compared to European countries. The European countries are the size of our United States states. So, let's say you go to Germany, you're going to eat German food. That's what it is. Now, whatever cultural ethnicities that they have in Germany, you may find places that serve that, but that's not German food. You go to Germany, you're going to eat German food. You go to Russia, you're going to eat Russian food. And it may be the same varieties of chicken, fish, and stuff like that, but the way that they prepare it is going to be a certain type of way. But one thing is for sure, when you go to England and you expect to get like a big soda full of ice, it ain't gonna fucking happen. They don't do that. You want ice, you got to ask for it. United States, they're gonna fill up the whole bottle with ice so you'll get less soda. In England, they're gonna fill it up, the whole thing, with juice, not American soda, because it's expensive. So you want Coke or Pepsi? So there's certain things we take for granted in the United States. When I was in Amsterdam, we went to McDonald's. So you get a Big Mac at McDonald's, and it's like you got to ask for ketchup. The ketchup that you get is not American ketchup. It's like some tomato type, it's not. You be like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is McDonald's. You thought it was safe. This was Burger King. You thought it was safe. So in order to get the American ketchup like Heinz, you got to order the quarter pounder. The quarter pounder comes with the American ketchup. Other than that, they're going to give you this ketchup pack and you're going to be like, yo, I can't eat this fucking burger. It's not the same. It's not the same. So there's a little bit of culture shock. And they looking at you like fucking uppity American. Like, look, get your food and get the fuck on up out of here. Yeah. Subtle differences. You can get around them, but you would be advised to just eat the cultural food. So while I was in Amsterdam, I ate shawarma and I ate the half chicken a lot. Like, yeah. Like anywhere in the world, you get the chicken, you're gonna be all right. When in America, eat American food. When any place else, don't eat American food from overseas. You're not going to get a taste of home with that. It's not. Nah. We don't have the same palate. Okay. She says, avoid London. It's expensive and terrible. I had fun in London. I dug it. But I like cities anyway. I don't mind the hustle and bustle and crime. Crime. April says, LOL, the Dutch aren't nearly that blunt or rude. I like it. You might be right about that. It was an experience. That's right, Cheryl. Turn up all week. Yeah. But yeah. So they say the streets ain't safe for kids no more. I don't know if the streets ever been all of that safe, but fuck it. My point is, like I said, in the 80s, it was so crazy with violence. And in the 70s, like I saw it for myself. But I'm not just taking my own example, you know. I had family that lived down in North Philly, and we went down there often. And Puerto Ricans used to be off the fucking chain down there at 4th and Huntington, where my peoples lived at. I'm like, this shit is fucking crazy. That's why down 4th and Huntington let me know, like, the game changed when you get on the other side of that Broad Street. Mm-hmm. When the numbers start getting low, the violence start getting a little higher. So Broad Street is 14th Street. So once you start getting the 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th, and when you get to the letter streets, when the number streets stop at front and you start going A, B, C, April says, gotta sleep. 1 a.m. If you ever do a stream on LGBT issues, I'd love to call in. All right, peace, April. You do the damn thing. All right, so the streets ain't safe for kids no more. Yeah, like I said, in the 80s, it was off the hook. You know what? When we talk about the 90s, we can go to 1994 and we can start talking about Joe Biden, who is the president of the United States now, and the 94 crime bill. We started, yeah, April, that did make me laugh. That shit, woo! I said, woo! The 94 crime bill. The reason that the 94 crime bill ever came a thing, the reason why it came into fruition was because the crack era of the 80s and 90s made it so unsafe for our kids that it was crazy. It made it unsafe for children. It made it unsafe for adults. It made it unsafe for seniors. It made it unsafe for cats, dogs. It made it unsafe for rats, mice, ants, mosquitoes. It made it unsafe for air, fire, water. It made it unsafe for space, planets, comets, meteors. It made it unsafe for the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe. It made it unsafe. Yo! That's why when people talk about how many black people got locked up because of the 94 crime bill, I'm like, that shit didn't just go for black people. I understand we've been disenfranchised and fucked over by the government. But the 94 crime bill covered anybody and everybody who had 3 violent felonies. Not even just violent. If you had 3 felony convictions, you got life in jail. No, I didn't agree with it, but it wasn't a black thing. But guess who wanted it? Guess who pushed it through? Black people. It was the black politicians that was like, yo, we need this thing, Joe. The white politicians was like, yo, this shit is, I don't know, yo, this ain't the Democrat. Yo, he a Democrat pushing this. Yo, Clinton is a Democratic president. He want this. Yeah, but it was the black politicians that said they needed this bill because the violence associated with the crack era was so off the chain and making the black community so unsafe. They was like, we need this fucking 94 crime bill, Joe. Yes, we are voting it in. The white politicians was like, no, I'm not signing that. The black ones was like, shit. y'all can research that, since you know everybody who's a Trump supporter now, you know, they research specialists. I did my research. Y'all only y'all only hate Trump because y'all think he's a racist. Y'all only don't like him because they told you not to like him on the news. The MSNBC said don't like him. CNN told you don't like him. ABC told you not to like him. NBC told y'all not to like him. CBS told you not to like him. And that's the only reason y'all don't like Trump, because y'all don't do y'all research. Y'all don't understand how much he did for you. If you a black person, you don't support Trump, then you ain't true. But you ain't true. And you ain't woke if you don't support Trump. I said, you ain't woke if you don't support Trump. You's a dummy, black dummy, black dummy. You don't support Trump, black dummy, black dummy. They be dead. Anyway. So was the street safe for us, for our children in the 90s? The 90s was off the chain with violence. And the gang violence that was mostly set in the West Coast areas with the Bloods and Crips started creeping over into the East Coast, down south, Midwest. Wasn't like that before. Now, what do you see now? What do you see now in 2021? You go to New York, you be seeing red and blue. That shit crazy. Is it safe for kids? It ain't safe for kids. I bet you see kids out. I bet you see them playing. I don't see as much violence nowadays as I did when I was growing up. You know, maybe it just seems to me like children, like the kids, the teenagers and stuff, they can go wherever they want to now. We just couldn't do that. I couldn't just go to West Philly, South Philly, North Philly, and West Oak Lane, and even Mount Airy, some places, you know, without thinking that I was going to get into a fight, or I was going to get chased out of there, or I was going to get rolled on. It just wasn't safe. It wasn't. I mean, I knew it wasn't safe. I lived the lack of security that I'm talking about. I lived it. I seen it. I get it. I got it. So I'm like, these kids can go wherever they want to. They don't have to worry about their chains being snatched and earrings getting ripped out their ears and rings being snatched off their hands and coats being taken off their backs. Sneakers and Timberlands being slipped off their shoes, getting punched in the mouth and having your shoes taken off at the same time. Yeah, that was the 80s and 90s. Absolutely. Gun violence off the chain. But I bet you if you talk to some of the kids who grew up in the 90s, they tell me like, nah, yo, it used to be like. Yeah, we had so much fun back in the night. That shit was crazy. I know my mom and shit, they be talking about how much fun they had in the 80s and shit, but I'm telling you, the 90s was the shit. Fuck that. Ain't nobody gonna tell you about that. Yo, and the music in the 90s was way better. That's when Nas and Jay-Z and everybody came out. You know what I'm saying? You know, we don't have artists like that no more. This shit is artists out here. We was getting it. We was doing it. Yeah. I think that it's probably just as safe for our kids to come outside now as it was before. But guess what? It's probably just as dangerous for our children to come outside now as it was before. You know what I mean? Before, we didn't know that somebody would be riding around in a white van, you know, snatching kids up. You know what I'm saying? Taking their organs, organ harvesting and shit like that. We didn't know. But we did know what it was like for a bunch of black kids to disappear down in Atlanta and to charge somebody for it that we weren't really sure had done it. And that was down south. Thought it was safe down south back in the day. Emily! I thought it was safe down south back in the day. Emily! How you explain them Atlanta child murders? How you explain that? How you explain it? How you explain it? We about to get out of here in a minute. But, you know, I just wanted to do this show tonight, man, because I was thinking about the shit like we talking about. It ain't safe for our kids no more. People be keeping their kids safe. Like, yeah, I don't want you going out there. It's too dangerous. It was dangerous before. It's kind of dangerous now. But we're going to get through it. Just like we got through it before. Everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right. Thank you. Let's do these birthday shout-outs, baby. Let's do these birthday shout-outs. And then we're going to skiddly-dee. Wow, wow, wow. Skiddly-dee. Wow, 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 wow. All right. All right. We have some birthday shout-outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious June 4th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They get number one out the box. Christine Davis turning 49 years old today. Happy birthday to you. And Yannick Green turning 34 years old today. Hey, and Nina Rao turning 41 years old today. And Timothy Perry, Tim Perry, you know, former basketball player for the San Antonio Spurs. Happy birthday to you, Tim. And also, last but not least, that's my girl. Go get her. Yo, Elena Vanessa, happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all and anyone else out there who shares this birthday on this glorious June 4th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up, but don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out, rock on and do the damn, rock out, rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, man, it ain't safe for the kids no more out here in these streets. Well, I'm not so sure that it was ever really that safe and secure. Yo, I see a lot of violence going down. I don't want nobody to get hurt, especially if you're down with me. But we still got to protect the season, elderly, and make sure that we get free. Word. I want to say peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. I love y'all right back to life. We will be in effect at EFFECT tomorrow for the Urban Therapy with Sun show. And I want y'all to come through and act like you know. I said act like you know. Brother from another mother, Norris Hill. He coming through a little late, but I'm glad that he will. Word. So I see y'all tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. Ain't been good. Levels is good. Levels is good. Levels is good. I hope all of y'all had a good week. Productive. I hope everything is all right with y'all. Forget that. I just want to say this one little thing. You know, we all go through our little things in life. Sometimes we have things going on in our lives in the background that may hinder our ability to be able to participate in certain things and participate in a positive way and really have fun. You know, in all of our lives, we have to deal with what life gives us. You know, we have people in our families or in our social circles who may be suffering. Some of them ailing, some of them going through things. We have things of our own that we may be going through and whatever. And sometimes it can keep us from seeing the light, and sometimes it can keep us from having a good time. You know, it's almost to the point where sometimes we think that the good times that we had are to blame for the rough times that we may be having right now. But just know that we are all susceptible to hitting rough patches in our lives. But we press on, baby, and we're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. We will weather the storm, because what's going to happen is going to happen. Now, you can either try to help it along or you can try to stop it. But, you know, life goes on. And I just want everybody to, you know, take some time out on a regular basis and go smell the roses. Take a walk. You know, flowers are blooming, trees are blooming now. We can get back to nature a little bit. I would encourage you to do that. You know, try meditation, yoga, whatever techniques that you need to employ in order to try to bring some peace and serenity into your life. Please use your internet. Stop looking at fight videos and all kinds of crazy shit, ratchet shit, and go find out how to bring some peace and serenity into your life, because there's a lot of information that could be helpful for you. You understand what I'm saying? See y'all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I said see y'all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Shit leaves the dock. They'll tick tock, 11 o'clock. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I'm trying not to be late, and if I am, Emily, don't hate. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right, and everything is going to be okay. The Daily Go Get a Miss Show saying peace today. All right, so we'll get Blog Talk on about it here. And then for my Instagram, make sure y'all share the show. Make sure y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit it. All right, Instagram, please. And for my YouTubers, love me some you peace.